Hello, we're rolling. Okay. So, this is your tarot reading. It is July 25th, 2018. And you had a very simple question. Will things, I won't use either of your names, so will things work out between you and your man? Very simple question. Let's see what happens. I will say, though, I find this kind of simple question really interesting because people don't often say, like, well, do you want it to? Because if you don't want it to, I guess, maybe if you didn't want it to, you wouldn't be asking in the first place. Maybe I'm kind of too open to the possibilities, but I'll assume that you want it to, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking. So, but you must have some doubts or things maybe with him, or just maybe the compatibility of the two of you. So let's see what happens. So the 9-digit number I asked you to meditate on and provide for me, I used that number to pick 2 cards. So one of them I used to pick from the tarot deck, and that's going to be our guide or advice or summing up the reading at the very end. So I'm going to put that aside. That's the one that you picked. And then I asked you to pick amongst some other like themes. So you picked deities. So I have a mixture of 2 decks here. The Gods and Titans and Goddesses and Sirens decks. This is my favorite Oracle card artist, Jimmy Manton, but the books are written by Stacy DeMarco. And I also used that number to pick this one for you. So you basically picked this too, and I like to look at this as a sort of a theme for the reading. So, you got Hera, you got commitment. So that already bodes very well for you and your man, that you got commitment. That's the theme of the reading. So let's see now what gets borne out as we look at the situation using the tarot. So I'm going to lay a foundation of 3 cards as I usually do. Let me pick 3 for you. One, 2, and 3. Okay. Well, these are all really great cards. So, I mean, things are already looking good. I mean, we're going to do the full-on thing, but things are looking pretty good already. So, this foundation is really more about you than about the relationship. So it seems like you've been in a place where, okay, so the Emperor, it's a major arcana card. You got 2 major arcana cards for the foundation. So to me, that's telling me that like there are some significant things going on in your life right now. This is a significant time of transition or a significant time of transformation, or maybe just significant happenings right now in your life. So the Emperor, he's like the father figure. So I would say, like, coming up on this reading, there's been something happening either with a father figure in your life, that kind of relationship, or what I usually read this as more commonly would be that, you know, where have you been being the Emperor in your life? I think that you've been in some sort of a position of commanding or authority, maybe with a relationship, or it could be just any place in your life that's like setting you up for the circumstances to ask this kind of question about your man. So I see, like, yeah, someplace where you've been like a leader, an authority figure, and you've really been in command. Coming up on this, and there's like something really good is happening in your life right now because you've got the victory card. So this is the 6 of Wands. The sixes are often about like a sort of a completion of an intermediate phase in a journey, and the Wands are about passion, the fire inside of you. So like really the fire inside of you, also the will, like what the will in sort of like the flame inside of you sort of way, which also resonates with the Emperor because the Emperors exert their will. So you've been you're having some sort of victory right now. So something that you've been working on has been coming to fruition, and you're being recognized for it, right? You're right. Like the figure on this, the figure is riding a horse here, and then there's all like the community is around him to like greet him and celebrate his success, and he's wearing laurels and whatnot. So I'd say something, you're being recognized right now for a victory too. It's not just that you've had it, but your peers, family, or some people in your realm are recognizing that things are going well for you right now. And then coming out of it, it's like you've got the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune, you've got it right side up. So I mean, one of the basic definitions is that fortune, in a big way, because this is one of the major arcana cards, fortune has turned into turned in your favor. This is one of the few cards, like when it's reversed, it often means like, you know, the opposite. It can mean the opposite of what, like just good or bad, you know, when you reverse it. So there's no blocked energy here. I think like the wheel is turning in your favor, basically. I often think of this as like the windmills in Don Quixote. They can knock you down on the one side, and then they can lift you up to the heavens on the other. So looks like you're being lifted up to the heavens right now. Very positive stuff in your life. So let's look at this as a relationship reading. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a card for you, I'm going to draw a card for him, and I'm going to draw a card for the energy in between the two of you and see what it looks like when you two come together. So let's see. Let me draw the card for you first. Okay, that one. Let's draw the card for him. And now let's draw a card for the two of you. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh my God, so you've gotten like 4 major arcana cards right now. So, so this, I don't know, I feel like with this many, like it's not like the significant, I don't think the thing that's going on in your life right now is just about the relationship. I think it's about like there's some serious like evolution happening in your life right now. So the energy for you, and you know, this actually, my first thought when I see this card is like, this represents you asking this question, okay? Because we got all this rosy stuff down here, but deep down, I feel like you're not recognizing maybe the victory of this. Maybe the victory might be this relationship. Maybe you've been fighting forever to find a great guy, and maybe you have one now, and maybe you're just not recognizing it. Self-doubt. This is the 4 of Cups. This card, the cups are about emotions, and in this particular card, he's like staring at these empty cups here, so much so that there's this divinely offered gift, like there's a hand coming out of a cloud and offering him another chalice. But he's not even noticing because he's focused on these empty cups. He's being a Debbie Downer, right? So for you, I would say that, you know, right now, your energy looks like, I don't want to say lack of gratitude in a bad way, but you know how people keep gratitude journals in order to basically improve their overall mood, their outlook, to help them manifest the things that they want in their life? I think like you might be focusing on the things that are lacking, or maybe the few painful things, or things that maybe like the peccadillos, or like the nitpicky things right now, instead of focusing on like the really big thing that's being offered to you divinely. Or it could just be that you're not, there could be something going on in your life that you're just not seeing it. I don't know what that is, but I think this also like might explain why you got such good cards and you're asking this question. There's some doubt, right? So the doubts are clouding your vision from seeing how great things are right now. Now, he got the Death card. So death in tarot is all about transformation. It's the number's 13, and so if you look at the major arcana as a journey, you go from like 0 to 21. So it's about midway through the journey, and this is death in like the way that you can think of like a caterpillar dies to become a butterfly, or the phoenix rises from the ashes. So this death is about transformation. So he seems to be in a hugely transformative state right now. Something big is going on in his life, and he's having to die and be reborn. That's the usual definition of this card. So like in the foreground, there's like all of this like this drama going on because like here comes death on a horse, and like this person's fainting. This person like looks like he's dead. The child looks kind of like he's in awe, and then like the pope like or minister like figure is like kind of like, you know, supplicating himself and, you know, trying to appease death and all of this stuff. But in the background, there's like, you know, there's a sun coming up between these two towers on the horizon. So it's like there's this like the birth of a new day, right? There's a ship sailing on the river. So like the people who aren't a part of the scene are just going on about their daily lives, right? So he's having this huge thing going on, but then, you know, the rest of the earth is still turning. So that seems to be where his energy is right now. The energy of the two of you together, okay, like one of my favorite tarot readers, in a relationship reading like this, the devil comes up. She would say that it's like the sex must be really good. That would be one definition of the devil card for her. So if the sex is really good, yay for you. Another definition of the devil card that I like to use in relationship readings, though, I'll have to describe the image on the card a little more in detail for it to make sense. So you've got two figures. You have this devil figure. I mean, really, the devil is an angel. He's a winged angel, but he's fallen from heaven, and he is sort of dominating these two figures in the picture. They have chains around their necks. There's a woman and there's a man, and there's like the tail of the woman. It comes grapes, as in like what makes wine, and then there's like the tail of flames on this side. So often the devil is about addiction. It's about, number one, it's about addiction. Another aspect of the devil is that if you look really carefully, the chains around their necks are actually loose. So the picture depicts them as being chained into place, you know, being dominated by the devil. But all they have to do is lift the chains from their neck and they are free. So another aspect of the devil is like, you know, whatever's binding you two together, or whatever's keeping them in a situation that they don't want to be in, they can actually just leave, but they can't see it right now, right? So it's all about what, like being stuck. It's being stuck in a big way. Now, because there's two figures in this card and this is a relationship reading, another way I could read the devil in this situation could be that this relationship could have an element of codependency. So codependency, if you're seeing it, that might be a good opportunity for couples therapy. So you'll have to figure out the reading of this one. Hopefully it's the good sex aspect of it, but if not, I feel like there could be risk of codependency in the relationship when I see this card. And it is all about commitment. So the question to ask is this a healthy commitment? Or is it maybe an unhealthy commitment? Now, I'm going to move all of these aside a little bit, and I'm going to ask two more. I'm going to pull two more for you guys. So I'm going to, I'm trying to think if I should, like, phrase it about you or about the two of you. I'm going to keep it about you because you're the one asking the question. So I'm going to draw a card for, like, an action to take and an action to avoid. So, like, you know, you're looking for advice. So, like, what should you do and what should you not do? So let me find two cards for that. What should you do? And now what should you not do? Wow. Okay. You got two more major arcana cards. So, like, how many? Let's just see. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you've got 6 majors out here, and then you've got 2 minors. So hugely significant things going on in your life right now, right? So both of these are reversed. So that means there's going to be in both of what you need to do and what you need to avoid doing, it's going to be a tough slog. So I'm thinking that perhaps what I'm about to say might not be your natural inclination. That might be a part of, like, for these two cards, like whatever I say, I think might not be your natural way your personality or your drive has you behave. Or it could be that it might take a long time for this to manifest, so it might be hard in that respect. So you've got this strength as to what you should do. So this is kind of resonating with the Emperor here, right? The Emperor having authority. I mean, emperors do have strength, and he's a warrior. He's got armor on, but beneath his robes. So to me, strength is definitely resonating with where you are right now. So where can you use strength, but be gentle? Like if you notice this woman, like there's a woman here, and she's using her strength to control this lion. But if you look at how she's doing it, like the lion is not being ferocious right now. You'll notice that the tail of the lion is between its leg. So she is basically using her strength in a very gentle and controlled manner. So she's not being overbearing. So like this is strength in like knowing when to use force versus not. And so this is definitely a time not to use any force. I'm thinking that maybe you are you have maybe forceful fire within you normally, just because we got the Emperor over here. So he's got this red background. He's really super fiery over here. So maybe this like showing your strength to get what you want by using gentleness to control the situation and knowing when to hold back, maybe that's hard for you, and maybe that's why it's reversed. But that's what you need to do here, right? How do you attenuate the fire inside of you and display strength in that way? So I think that's what that's all about. Now the Hangman, actually it kind of looks like a person right side up, even though it's reversed, right? So what not to do, so there's a couple aspects to the Hangman. So the Hangman is about completely shifting your perspective in order to move forward. So the Hanged Man, various legends and myths like Odin and stuff, usually the Hangman has put himself into this situation, so he's basically hung himself upside down in order to gain some sort of insight. So it's basically like gaining insight through self-sacrifice. But it's also changing perspective. And I would say that, so what not to do, I would say don't sacrifice too much, because this is what you need to avoid. I don't think it's necessarily it's telling you to avoid the change in perspective aspect of the card. I think in this case it would be the avoiding too much self-sacrifice in order to change your perspective about the relationship. And maybe that's something that you normally would have a tendency to do since it's reversed. So the reversal here, I think, again, it's going to be hard for you. Maybe it's not in your nature. Maybe you sacrifice a little bit too much in terms of caring for others. But where are you sacrificing, and where might you not want to do that as an action to avoid? And so now that I'm saying this whole thing about the sacrificing, and that resonates a little bit more with the codependent definition of this card, right? That maybe the give and take in the relationship isn't exactly balanced, or the imbalanced nature of the give and take is what's causing the codependency. Like if one of the two of you is like running around caring for the other one, while if one person's falling apart and the other one's like holding everything together, or that kind of like imbalance, really examine that. It's looking like that might not be, this sort of sacrifice aspect might be what you need to avoid doing here. Now I'm going to go ahead and show the card that you chose with the number. So let's kind of see how this gets, like if this is guidance for you or just kind of sums up the reading. So you got the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands is, again, we talked about how wands are about fire. So queens are leaders, and In contrast to the male energy over here, the advice or summing up the reading here is about a female way of leading. So wands are about fire and will. So now, like that, I'm talking about this stuff. I think that this is definitely about maybe will. This victory. There's a victory of will going on right now. So where can you be the Queen of Wands? Where can you be a leader who has achieved mastery, but does so in a more yin sort of way, in a more, I don't want to say passive, in a more nurturing way. So this is resonating again with the strength card, right? Where, you know, by exhibiting strength, you can exhibit strength in a gentle way rather than in a forceful way. So the Queen of Wands, basically, queens in general in the tarot, the idea of the queen is that, you know, you have kings that have authority and a strong hand, and they crush people, and it's sort of like, you know, the stereotypical masculine traits. So where can you use some of the more stereotypical feminine traits, right? Queens have the quality of being, I don't want to say calculating, they rule in a more nurturing way. They kind of step back and sort of analyze the situation, and they understand how to get things done when, at a time, like if you think about medieval times when women didn't have like ostensible power because women were subjugated, but they still understood how to get things done. They went in about it in a different way. So I think the goal here with this card and summing up the reading is like, where can you use your will the way a queen would, in either a nurturing way, you absolutely have mastery over the situation, but in a way that's sort of attenuated and a little bit more strategic, rather than forceful and overt, if that makes any sense to you. So I think things look good for on the relationship front if you can nip this in the bud, right? Whatever the source of the devil is. If there's an addictive aspect, a codependent aspect, or maybe there's I'm hoping it's just that the sex is really good. But you know, you wouldn't need this reading if like that's all that really signified. So I don't know, it started to resonate with the codependency over here, but you can let me know where you think this was going and if this was helpful to you. I hope it was helpful to you. I mean, the theme was commitment, and yeah, I think that's about all I have to say. So good luck with the relationship, and take care.